if there is a problem with the oil pressure relief valve, I'd rather see it than not see it. So it's kind of like hope against hope. I'm hoping we don't see a problem, but if there is a problem, I hope we see evidence of it as we're driving at highway speed. Okay, so now we're at idle. The pressure's down to about 30 psi. That's because the oil has warmed up and it's thinner. But as soon as we start getting moving, it climbs back up to 55 or so. Nothing unusual, nothing to worry about. Perfectly normal. And the needle fluctuations are very gentle and minor at all the ranges. That's what we want to see. I should point out, interior of this car is a 1973 Mustang hardtop or coupe, and it came very nicely appointed. It has factory air conditioning, automatic transmission, and the inner door panels are the nice deluxe sculpted panels, not the flat panel like you see on the lesser expensive trims. So someone trimmed this car out very nicely. And because it has factory air, the windows came tinted from the factory. Okay, 25 psi, so the oil is even warmer. The rule of thumb I'd like to follow is we should see a minimum of 10 psi per 1,000 RPM of the engine. Right now we're idling probably around 600 RPM or so. So we clearly have plenty of oil pressure. Yes, it's lower than it was before. It's about 25 psi at idle right now. And that is plenty fine. As soon as Chris accelerates and we get a green light, you'll see it and it'll climb very quickly with the engine speed, engine RPM increasing. But notice how steady that needle is right now, and that's what I'm looking for. Decent pressure and no fluctuations or minimal fluctuations of the needle. That is a happy oil pump that we see. Building pressure. And still very little needle fluctuation, but just over 50 psi now instead of 60 like we had before. And again, it's because the oil is hot and thinner. Now I might, when I edit this video, I might go through and run a double or 4-time regular speed just to get by any areas like this that are otherwise boring because there's nothing happening unusual. So if you see a section of the video that looks like it's running at sped up pace, that's on purpose, that's me. Now, what you can't hear in the video, but I can as a passenger, is when Chris accelerates or decelerates with the engine, I see the oil pressure climb a bit, drop a bit, climb a bit, drop a bit. And that is well within what I would expect to see. So I'm still not seeing anything unusual or alarming.
Yeah. Here we go.
Which is good news. But we're about to get on the expressway in a few moments. And so apparently that's when the oil pressure warning light comes on. And I'm thinking because the oil pressure relief valve in quite a ways and get stuck there just a little bit. Speculation so far on my part. Now, Chris told me when I was asking him questions that when the warning light comes on, the engine sounds different, like the valves lifters are clattering because of lack of oil. And so it tells me that the oil warning light was doing a good thing. It was warning him that something was not working correctly. Now the question is what? Well, it's not a worn out engine because of main bearings or rod bearings bleeding off too much oil. Otherwise, we wouldn't have the pressure we've got right now, which is just below 20 psi at idle. And, you know, we're idling about 600 RPM, so if all we had was 6 pounds of pressure right now, I might be a little concerned because it's lower than I would have expected, but it would have been acceptable. You know, pretty much anything from 10 psi idle and higher is not a bad thing. The more we have, not necessarily the better. It could be better because the engine is pretty fresh, or someone's got oil in there that's too thick, or the oil is cool. It's thick because it's cool, and that happens.
All right, moment of truth. Here we go.
Moment of truth. We're about to get on the expressway in a few moments. Oh, and for anyone wondering what our oil level was in the crankcase, Chris checked that yesterday, and we have plenty of oil in the crankcase. We're not low on oil. Okay, we're traveling close to 50 miles an hour right now, approaching 60. And so far, we're looking pretty good. I see a little tiny bit of needle fluctuation, but nothing unexpected. And I am guessing we're probably turning about 2,000 RPM on the engine, maybe 2,200. There is no tachometer in this car, so I'm just going by what it sounds like. So far, holding very steady at 45 psi, so I'm very happy with that. And the needle is very steady. Excellent pressure, and the needle is still very steady. And because of that, the pressure is dropping a little bit, but we're still above 40 psi and running at about 2,000 RPM on the engine. That's pretty good. Okay, we just dropped the oil pressure. When you get a chance to go to the pool, we'll let it cool off. but it definitely dropped to 0.
Let's get off here.
Yeah. Expressway. I don't hear any engine clattering yet.
Yeah.
And we've got a little tiny bit of pressure, but not much. Across the intersection, get in that parking lot and pop a hood and make sure that this oil pressure hose is still connected like it had been. Okay, the engine is idling. And it's now being turned off. Okay, yeah, just take a look at the hose and make sure it's not popped off. So hood is open, and he's checking the hose that leads to this oil pressure gauge I'm holding. And looks like it's unsolid. Okay. So now when we start the engine, we'll see if the oil pressure comes back up. Okay, let's see if the pressure comes back. Came back perfectly. Okay, so the problem has been verified with the oil pressure gauge. Now it's time to figure out why did it drop from about 40 psi to almost 0 with no warning, and then upon restarting at idle and neutral it's almost 20 psi. Okay, we can head back to the house. Remember how to get there from here?
Yeah, you want me to get it back in the expressway or go back roads?
Let's go back Service Street.
So I'm just going to go down here and go down Calkins.
Well, if you turn right out of here and go toward Jefferson,
yeah,
that would be I think the best way to go.
Okay.
Up Jefferson.
You know better than me.
Well, it's the way I would go. Because there's a lot of businesses, a lot of businesses along the way. So if something goes badly wrong.
Oh, yeah, good call.
Yeah.
I don't know
so we're going to go back to our house on surface streets, staying off the highway, and I'll be looking to see what's happening with the pressure. Now I'm going to drop from 35 down to 22 pounds of pressure. That was simply the transmission upshifting where the engine RPM dropped. So I see nothing alarming, running above 20 psi, probably about 1,500 RPM on the engine, or less when it comes to a stoplight. I have to come to a stop, but we're holding good pressure. Well, I saw nothing indicating the pressure had spiked where the oil pressure relief valve would have been stuck open because of something forcing it open. It dropped so quickly, and I guess it's possible it was stuck in a partially open position, and when the oil pressure went down a little bit, it didn't start to close up right away. That is possible. I really can't think of anything else that can make the oil pressure drop so very suddenly and so very far. And amazingly, I never heard any clattering from the engine or anything else indicating that it totally lost oil.
Yeah.
So it might be that there's still oil, but not under pressure. So we haven't really put the engine at terrible, terrible risk. Yeah. Thank you. Here I'm paying attention to what doesn't have to be watched.
If we had kept going for a little bit longer...
Oh, you just wind up in the shopping center.
No, what I'm saying, if we had kept going on the expressway,
yeah.
You saw that drop.
Yeah.
This would have eventually gone on, and then you would have started to hear that clatter.
Yeah. Very quickly, I would have expected to hear it.
As soon as that light
which is bad news when we hear a clatter. But yeah, the oil pressure is increasing and decreasing with the engine RPM, and still well within reasonable bounds. I'm not worried about the overall pressure that's being shown with the oil pressure gauge. I sure wish we had film cameras like this back when I was a technician in the 70s. It would have saved a lot of grief. Very useful.
Interesting is it's not stalling out. It's idling pretty good. It's not doing what it was doing.
And the engine sounds like it's idling a little higher than normal.
You would know, right?
Well, it sounds fairly normal now, but when you drive and it's stalling is when you come to a stop like this.
Yes.
And the engine's like real slow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a little surprised also, but yeah, we'll figure all that out.
It hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's going on.
Well, we're 1 for 2. It's as far as the testing. It definitely, the oil pressure dropped, and this light was going to go on.
Oh, that light would have gone on. Definitely the warning light. Those lights normally are set to trigger at about 15 psi. When you drop to 15 pounds of pressure or less, they're supposed to let the light come on, the warning light. alarming at all.
Yeah.
And the oil pressure is acting just like I would expect it to in traffic. Yeah, right now we're about 10 psi at idle. A little bit closer to the almost not high enough mark, and it could be that these warning light switches, pressure switches, any switches may not trigger until we hit more like 10 or 8 psi. This idling at 10 psi, if you've never had your warning light come on to idle, then they probably will turn the light on at even lower pressures than I recalled. This oil, you said was 1040?
No, I'll look on my text. I want to say it was it's the Mobil1 Racing, so I don't think it was 1040.
Okay.
For some reason, I want to say, and I could be wrong, like 1550. Does that sound right?
Okay.
Does that sound right?
That could very well be.
I'll check my text. But I got what.
Looks like the oil pressure sending unit is not a problem, because it definitely would have turned the light on when the engine dropped to 0 pounds of pressure, like we saw happen. So no need to replace it just in case. The bad news is there's something else going on we have to get to the bottom of to make sure we don't end up turning this engine into a high-tech boat anchor.
You know what? Do not want that.
And when we get back, Chris will check to see what weight oil he has. Originally from the factory, they wanted to see like 10W30. For an engine with a bit more age on it, 1040 would have been a good weight to use. If we're running at higher than 40 weight for the warm viscosity, like if we're running at 50 at the upper end, yeah, maybe we got more wears than I thought on the engine with the bearings, but that doesn't explain why the oil pressure dropped to 0. viewing this video, you can see how quickly it just dropped. No warning or anything, just dropped. And didn't come back until we turned the engine off. Okay, we're within about 1 mile of our house, a little bit less than a mile. So when we pull the driveway, I'll turn this recording off and I'll come back to this video and do some other yakking. Seems like 2 o'clock.
Yeah. He gets his run out of the way early.
Yeah.
Get the AC.
Okay, we're about to pull into the driveway, and if we're lucky, Linda will be outside. And she'll open up the garage door for us so we can pull this puppy in.